done. You can
President's call.
go live, Jess.
Don? Is it Donnie?
Can't believe it, I didn't know he knew my cell number.
Oh, I gave it to him. We're old buds. We're live.
We are live. We're live for the second time. Close that door, will you?
Yep.
You kind of forget that.
The event is February 11th through the 23rd from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. each day, except on
do it.
Sundays. For more information on this
Sorry, guys, we had to go live twice because it wouldn't let us rotate the phone. I should have started out wide. That would have solved the problem. Andy, are you ready to be on the air after this?
I'm ready, more or less.
Yeah, more or less.
More or less.
You know, you've sat in here and suffered, you know, listening the last few weeks. 3 weeks? 3 weeks.
Yeah.
3 weeks.
KDXU News Time, 8:35. Good morning. It's time once again for another edition of the St. George Real Estate Morning Drive, and we do. I bring again the voice of St. George Real Estate. Here's Jeremy Larkin.
Good morning, everybody. Hey, I put a suit on for this morning.
You look pretty sharp.
Thank you, man.
I was
I'm
gonna
feeling a
say,
little bit dressed down.
where did you?
Well, you don't even have your shirt tucked in.
That's because it's casual.
Okay, all right.
This is
that's
radio.
fine.
This is
For me.
yeah.
This is our
casual.
this is our second live video of the morning, and what we're going to want to do, Jesse, is we're actually going to want to back that up because we're going to capture Mike. I didn't let you know that yet. We're going to want to back that
I
up.
was trying to, but he wouldn't turn around.
That's okay.
I
It's
told
okay.
him the back of my head.
It's
my
okay.
best
Well,
man
yeah,
said
just
it.
back it up. I know. Well, you know what? There were words inserted there. That was very nice, by the way. The back of you is your best asset. I know. I get it. I hope your wife is listening this morning. Jeremy Larkin, host of the St. George Real Estate Morning Drive. Do you want to hear what I put on Facebook Live?
I don't know. Do I?
After,
Okay, sure.
I got some information from Bart Taylor. Now, I hope I didn't get it wrong. After 41 total years on the air, yeah?
Yep.
35 in St. George,
Yep.
22 years on the open mic program, and nearly 5 years as our co-host.
That's right.
Probably 4, yeah. The great Mike McGary signs off on his final show. Today we ask him about the highlights and lowlights, and I'm sure there have been plenty of lowlights, of thousands of shows, 4 a.m. wake-ups, and being nagged by the public about their favorite city or county complaints.
That's happened, yeah.
Because they're hoping that you can get the pothole fixed out there in front of their home. Are they?
Well, I have connections.
I know you do.
I know the people.
The mayor's coming in. So who will be on with you after us for the last open mic?
My family, actually.
Are they really coming in?
My wife's coming in. I have
So
3
good.
sons who are in town. My daughter will be on the phone.
Oh,
My
this
brother is here, so it's
this
all
is
good.
so good.
It's gonna be fun.
This is so good. So guys, I'm Jeremy Larkin. I'm the host of the St. George Real Estate Morning Drive, and we're gonna talk, this is fun today for me. This is such a great break from just real estate talk. So we're gonna have 2 minutes of real estate talk. Want to remind our friends and clients that our $1, we call it the dollar menu. The dollar menu expires today, so we did this program for a month, where if you are buying a home in St. George and you hire us to represent you, you qualify to sell your home for $1. $1. How many clients have we had? 5? 5 this month? Something like that? Something. I don't know. Something like that.
I think so.
So the funny part is people go, what's the catch? Well, the catch is you need to buy another home in St. George. That's fine.
Right.
That is the catch. There is no other catch. It's $1. So we will have settlement statements at the at the title company that say listing brokerage commission $1 and expires today. We said we would do it only for January. We committed we'd do it only for January, and we're doing it only for January. Okay, so we will be shooting an email out to our database this morning, but if you have questions about that, pick up the phone and call us after the show. We can call us right now if you want. Someone will answer probably.
Yeah, probably.
275-1690, 275-1690, or Google the Larkin Group, and just, gosh, contact us. So that's number 1. The $1 listing program does end today, and if you don't qualify for the $1 program, you will qualify for our. We had 2 things going. What we call Christmas in January, which is our up to $10,000 savings program, and you will qualify. So get in on it. If you thought about selling your home, as a matter of fact, if you're planning to sell your home in February, and this is what tips you over, then let it tip you over. You do not have to list your home today. You couldn't list your home today. We could not.
Couldn't get it all
Yeah,
done. And do it right.
We couldn't fill out the paperwork and photograph your home and bring our staging consultant through and all that stuff. Okay. So thank you, Robert McFarland, for the I Look Sharp brother. Or were you talking to Jesse? I guess you were talking to me. Secondarily, the Best of Southern Utah. So St. George News is running the Best of Southern Utah. And I want to just prep all of our listeners that we will be vying for the title of Best Real Estate Team in Southern Utah. So be aware. I think we're 10 or maybe even 14 days out from voting, but we have been nominated, and we want this. Kevin Chavez, we know this town. Yes, we do. Yes, we do, my friend.
That's gonna be pretty cool. How do we go vote?
So
Who votes?
there will be a link. The public can vote. The public can vote every single day, and we will have a link that will be produced that will be something like bestofsouthernutah.com/the Larkin Group. I don't know what it is. They'll provide it for us. So that's the deal. Real estate sales, by the way, in Southern Utah are strong, folks. Strong. If you have not been on our YouTube channel, we put some great content out there talking about the market being really great, just not quite as great as some people want, and
Well, and not as great as it's been.
yeah,
So it's starting
not
to
as high.
stabilize
But not as great as it's been for who?
for sellers.
For sellers.
For buyers, this is great.
See, buying and selling is like a marriage, and if only one person's happy, that's usually a recipe for disaster, right?
I never thought about it.
Yeah,
that way.
yeah, so sellers were really happy last summer.
Yeah.
Because they could do whatever they wanted. They could like they could pull up their car onto the front lawn and kick stuff over and just kind of be reckless teenagers and say, well, I want what I want. But that's not a healthy real estate market. So the market is better than it's really virtually been in a decade. Yet we have some sellers who are saying, well, maybe I just won't sell my home because I can't get what I want. And if you go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/go St. George TV, a couple of videos you're gonna wanna watch where I talk about the fact that people will look back on this time and they'll say, I didn't wanna sell because of what? Because I couldn't get what?
Couldn't get what I wanted, couldn't get the right price,
Yeah. And if I sell, then I'll have to buy what?
at the high price.
Yeah. What they didn't take into account is that what they can't control, which are interest rates.
I have that
Right.
conversation all the time, and, because people think, well, man, I just can't do that, I can't buy, and unless you went through that whole scenario, really strategizing with a mortgage guy
And a good agent.
and a good agent, you really don't know what you can, or what you're costing yourself if you don't.
Yeah, I promise you, whatever you read on Zillow or whatever, it was not enough for you to actually run through all of your options.
I mean, if
So-
you're thinking about a, $300,000-400,000 investment, it's probably pretty important to really go down the whole road of investigation.
What are all of my options, right?
Well, yeah, right. What are they? You
Because
could
the-
stay, you could sell, you could refinance, you could rent that one out, buy another one. There's all kinds of stuff you could do.
Because if you want to move, let's pretend that interest rates pop up to 6% in 2 years. You will look back and it will be a regretful moment because
Yeah.
now your mortgage payment will be $200 or $300 higher and you don't have any control over that. All right, so again, call us 275-1690 to take advantage of our Christmas in January/dollar menu. Or to just talk about your situation, how to strategize. Okay, Mike, here we go. Let's do
There's
this.
the man.
So 35 years in
In
St.
St.
George.
George.
Okay, so give us the best and the worst. What are a couple of highlights from being on the air this long?
Well, but I had a job and a paycheck for all that time, I guess would be pretty good. My career has really, I think, been two-faceted. Number one, that's on the air, it's the news, it's the morning show.
Uh-huh.
The other half is the sports, and I've been involved in sports for nearly that same length of time. I'm gonna go there first, kids, it's easy.
Calling games for who?
I did it for Dixie College / Dixie State University now. Traveled with the team for 20 years. In fact, yesterday on the show, I had former coaches, Greg Croshaw on the air with me.
So
I had
good.
Dave Rose, now the head coach at BYU.
Correct.
And the head BYU baseball coach, Mike Littlewood, who was also here.
Oh, that's cool.
So I
Where's
had him on
Croshaw?
the air.
By the way, where's Croshaw now?
He's semi-retired, kind of helping out here and
He's
there.
still here.
He's still in the town.
Okay,
He's in
okay.
the town.
I knew he was involved with.
Anyway, got the
semi-pros.
opportunity of calling 4 national championships on the junior college level too, which Dixie won.
Did you go back as far as 85 or no?
No,
That was pre-you.
I actually came here in '84, but the great man Larry Jewell was still.
It was Larry Okay, I was 10 years old, and I was at the game in Wichita, Kansas, We stayed, this is so great, I was 10 years old, we stayed at the Holiday Inn Holidome.
Yeah.
And the Holidome in the 80s was a thing because it had a miniature golf course and an arcade and a pool inside. And I was like,
Wow.
we really arrived. We drove all the way to Wichita. So Larry Jewell,
Larry Jewell.
oh my gosh.
I actually, my claim
That
to
takes me
fame,
back.
I ran the board here in St. George.
There you go.
So I heard that, but I got to do the national championship in 2001, Andy?
Yeah.
Andy did it with me, by the way, Andy Griffiths.
So
off in the
good.
corner there. So I got to call a
new
national
guy.
basketball championship, which Dixie won. I got to call in 2004 the national championship baseball, which Dixie won. The only downer was that the Dixie football team twice played in a national championship for junior colleges, both here in town, both at the Rotary Bowl, and they lost both to the same team.
Yes.
Kind of a rough one.
You know,
But-
that stinks. Yeah, amen, and I remember that well. And the Rotary Bowl always ends up being freezing, because by about 2 o'clock, the sun's past the stadium,
Going down.
right? And then you're on the concrete. So, yeah, you were involved in some really cool stuff.
Really good stuff, and I could go on and on, obviously, but, I have been at, I really don't know, I've been very fortunate, a number of state championships. Thank you, Region 9.
Yeah,
They've been
tons.
super.
Tons.
I mean, baseball, basketball, football, Region 9 teams have won them all multiple times, so I've been able to be there and call those games as well.
Do you have any idea how many games? Could you guesstimate how many games that you have done live color commentary for?
Andy and I were actually trying to figure this out, and our best estimate, over 3,000.
Over 3,000 games. And what's baffling to me is when I listen to you or anyone else calling a game, you know, hey, it's Smith to Stout, and it's Stout to McFarland. I'm looking at whoever's
Right.
liking it. And it's Jesse. Hey, you know, Jesse Paul, he's a really great junior out of Wichita, Kansas. He's done a great job. Oh, hey, we've got a fumble. It's like, you really get good at that, right? You have
don't
to
give
study.
away all my secrets, but
Yeah.
you do. You kind of get into a flow of things, and there's no doubt. I had all kinds of notes. I didn't make the pro level where they have, you know, a little insert in your ear to some guy
Telling you
going,
what to do.
it's Bob Smith with the tackle, you know.
Yeah,
I never
right.
had that, you know. I may have had Andy going, Bob Smith, you know, when
Yeah.
he punched me in the side, but you get a feel, you get to learn from it.
You
So-
get-
so many games over the years. It's been incredible.
3,000 games. Oh, and I've heard Mike for so long. So I mean, I used to listen to all the Dixie State University games
Yeah.
when they were on the road.
20 years I traveled.
20 years.
Dixie.
Yeah, that's incredible. So 4 a.m. is typical wake-up time?
Probably 4:30, I guess. I have to be in studio by no later than 5:30.
Right.
Well, until we sleep a little bit. But anyway, you know, to get here and get things set up and get ready to go. I mean, there's lots of prep prior to, so sometimes I do it the day before, you know, so I can.
And the key is, Mike has I figured out something that I learned from Mike, he didn't realize I learned from him. Mike lives literally 2 minutes.
Yes.
It's exactly 2 minutes is what I would estimate, over the hill. Like, he just drives up the street and comes down and parks. And then I decided, of course, a year ago to move 2 minutes from my office.
See,
And,
it works, doesn't it?
it's incredible, because I leave for like leadership meetings at 7:28 that start at 7:30. I mean, like, you know, that kind of stuff. Or I'll show up in my, I shot a live video on Facebook yesterday from my bike trainer, and I got off at 7:25, and then I went to the office to a meeting. Because I could just run home and shower, it's no big deal. So, this is amazing, 3,000 games, all these years on the air with the open mic show. Who do you remember, is there anyone that you remember specifically that came in the studio, besides the people that you like locally? You know, I mean, you love interviewing the mayors.
And there has been a lot of good ones locally. It's been fun over the years, but, yeah.
What stands out in your mind?
I think a couple of politicians who have come down, I mentioned this the other day, I have interviewed the last 6 governors of the state of Utah.
Wow.
Going back to, boy, now I can't think of his name, my mind just went blank.
I'm thinking back to Norm Bangerter, I'm thinking
Right
back to.
prior to Norm
Okay.
Bangerter. Norm Bangerter was the second one. Anyway, right up until our current mayor here. So or governor, excuse me, that's been a lot of fun. I've been able to interview some well-known athletes here on this one. And one of the fun ones I did with Joe Namath. Now, it wasn't during the heyday of his career, mind you. He was like I, a little bit older, but he was fun. That was probably one of the funner ones.
And he was cool and
He
respectful.
was very good, very respectful, very neat to have around. And I think some of the highlights have just been sometimes, you wouldn't think they would come in, we get talking, and we get into the best of discussions. And I've discussed all kinds of political things, all kinds of local events, and I've really enjoyed it.
By the way,
Yes.
Scott Matheson.
Scott Matheson, thank
I
you.
liked. Do you know who was the first governor of the state of Utah? People, this is a fun one. I wouldn't have even thought of this.
I was from Idaho, so I didn't know.
I wouldn't have even thought of this. Brigham Young.
Okay.
Brigham Young. Thank you, Wikipedia.
There you go.
Is that interesting? Brigham Young was the first governor of the state of Utah. So these guys come in. I don't know who will ever hear this. Is there anyone you remember that was like a pain? And obviously, if it's someone local, you can't name it. But was there anyone you've spoken with that you said, okay, that guy or gal was like, that was a problem?
I've had interviews when it just didn't go well. And this is gonna sound really sexist, and I know this, but I'm sorry. But years ago, they brought in the winners of the local Queen pageant. And here's what I asked. And I don't even remember this, so I can say it again. I just, it was good to have you in. First of all, your name is so-and-so. I really just want to get a feel. Which part of the area do you live in? She looked at me and she goes, I don't understand the question.
This is so good.
Let me just tell you that the 20-minute interview became 7 minutes, and we were out of there. So, and sometimes people are so nervous, they don't know what to say.
I don't think it's sexist. It's just what happened.
It's just what happened.
No.
That was a tough one. I've done a lot of politicians, and that's been fun, because of the local races, we've tried to bring all the candidates and interview them, and, and they range from being really good. And the thing is, whether they're good on the air or not, doesn't mean they're good or not a good candidate, so I hope people
Hey,
know
Jesse,
that.
here's the deal. Which area are you in? Hurricane, just say
I think I'm in hurricane.
Okay,
good.
Is it hurricane or hurricane?
Oh, shoot, did that come over the air? I didn't mean my whisper. That is incredible. Which area are you from? I don't understand the question. That does remind me of some snafus at the, is it the Miss Universe? There's been some funny.
There has been.
We've had some on this show because, Jeremy never tells me what he's gonna be talking about. And then he
Yeah,
asks me
Jesse's
a question and I'm,
He's pulled up lame a couple of times, but I love him. I love him, man. I love the guy. That is so incredible. So, what do you feel like, what is the biggest challenge of doing what you've done? What's the hardest part? There has to be a hardest part.
I think really trying to feel like that I'm at least semi-prepared for whatever may come up that day. Now, I'll never know everything, but I try to look, I try to get a feel, especially when it comes to the talk show portion of the day, because I feel like someone's gonna call up and ask a question. So I will go through the paper, well, not the paper anymore, I go through the internet, I bring it up
Right.
online, I look at things. I may only know the headline. But if someone calls and says, hey, did you see this? You bet, I did. Isn't that amazing that happened? I have no idea what the rest of the
as they
story
tell you what the story is.
And they'll tell me, so what'd you think about it? And then we can get into a discussion, so there's no way to do it.
Yeah, and I think you are giving away a trade secret. And I think, it's interesting because I hear about Rush Limbaugh and these guys. I mean, he loves to ruffle the papers.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, right. But they have stacks of stuff because they're kind of going, I could get into anything today. Now, of
Right.
course, those guys have the benefit of a call screen.
Absolutely. We
Right.
tried that once here.
Did you really?
Yeah, didn't really work.
So you get caught you're on the spot, you do the open mic program here at 9 o'clock.
Yep.
And, is this the family?
Yep, looks like my wife's out there, that's
Oh,
my
this is so
son, you can
fun.
see there, so.
This is so fun. So we're looking on the
It's a little entry
security
video,
camera. It's an
yeah.
entry video. That, by the way, that TV monitor was brought here by NASA in 1968.
That's fine, I know, I'm just
incredible.
kidding.
It's incredible. I mean, he's like, that's how I watch stream Netflix.
That's right.
But these folks call in. Let's talk about the open mic program for a
Sure.
minute. What have people most complained to you about? What is the most typical? Because it's kind of like the vent in the spectrum.
Yes, it is. I'll tell you, honestly, it's national politics.
Mhm.
National politics. People want to talk about what the president's doing, what the Congress is doing or not doing, what's good, what's bad. And a little bit, unfortunately, the split we see in the nation is right here in this area. I've tried to interject other programs involving more local. Now, there's some good local issues.
Uh-huh.
Water is always a great local issue. Growth is always a great local issue. But over and all, they seem to like to talk about the national. And one thing that was surprising to me, I have trouble getting on state issues.
Uh-huh.
They don't want to talk about it.
They don't wanna
They'll
talk about it.
complain, but I feel like people are gonna say, they're gonna sit back and wait, and then they're gonna complain.
So it's either national or
local.
I can't believe these guys are developing another subdivision.
That's big time. How about our water? And I'm not saying right or wrong, I'm just saying these are the hot button issues. It's
Uh-huh.
happened for a long time.
How often do you have to, Jesse, I don't know, maybe Jesse's in sales, so he's on the phone a lot with angry people. How often have you had to just cut a call off? Like, hey, man, like you had to hang up on them?
Let's just say numerous times. No, it happens. And, you know, I'll be honest. one thing
Expletives?
I've tried, very few, very fortunately,
Yeah.
very few. And in
Right.
fact, I think back to my career starting up in Pocatello, Idaho, I could probably on two hands, I could honestly.
Here we go, mother!
Yeah, and
Anyway.
I called a thing or two, and probably, though, only less than 10 times in 40 years, so that's not too bad. Now, we get into discussions, and I think that's what kind of led me on my open mic show to say, we're not gonna get personal. You can disagree with what I say, you can disagree with the events, you can disagree with the people, but you can't get personal about the people. And
Yeah.
for the most part, people have been good, and I've appreciated that, because it's, I think, kind of helped keep us on a little bit better level. I'm not a national talk show host, I don't want to be, I don't want to go where they think they have to go, so.
Yeah, and I don't think, I think it's very easy to go personal. I think it's very,
Easy to do.
it's so easy to go personal about the people, easy to go personal on you. Well, you know what, Mike, I've been listening to you for 5 years, and all you
Right.
ever do, right, all you ever do is one of the great statements that we make, and we love to make
We all
this
do,
to our
don't we?
family and our spouses and whatever we do, right? We love to say all you ever do is, which is, I'm always trying to teach my kids, okay, no absolutes.
Right.
Always, only, never. That's not helpful language, not helpful language. What are you gonna do now? So as we wrap this program today, like, now what? Because you're gonna, I mean, you're gonna walk out of here at what, 10 o'clock, 11, or will you be here for a
Probably
while?
1 o'clock.
Oh, yeah, you'll
There's
be.
a little get-together from
Yeah,
11 to 1
yeah,
today here.
yeah.
Honestly, for the very near future, sleep in. Seriously, just kind of take it easy. I do have family down.
Yeah.
Right now, I don't have a lot planned. My wife and I have a few trips that we're gonna be taking. I'm gonna become a full-time grandpa, at least for the near future. And we'll see where we go from there.
You appreciate that.
I do.
I love it. I'm going to Portland in April, or March.
You know what's
And
cool?
two little kids.
And I think you'll appreciate this. So Jesse's got how many grandkids?
4.
4, and how many are in Boston? 2 in Boston?
2 in Boston,
So
1 in Idaho, 1 in
he and his
Seattle.
wife, I mean, they're breaking themselves, whatever,
I know.
down to get there at least twice a year.
Well, 4 times.
4 times a year to
We go 4
Boston.
times.
That's really good.
Right, so I mean, you appreciate, like, Jesse gets this.
My wife gets it. She reminds me that the kids are only gonna be little once, and it's gonna matter
Yep.
right now.
Yeah, now, we cannot forget, Andy, you're to remind us, when this program ends, that we have to get it the last in studio photo of the 3 of us guys. Okay? We have to have this, okay? You got it?
Yep.
Because, by the way, the contract with Cherry Creek, they cancel it if you don't remind us, okay? So I'm sorry. I hope Cherry Creek's listening right now. Mike, it has been, we got 2 minutes, right?
Yeah.
It's been such a pleasure. I mean, honestly, I mean it. I just mean it. You are, and it's hard. I was almost emotional. Like, Mike is a man of character. He's a man of credibility. I worked with his son doing some real estate.
That's right. Yeah.
And he's just a good man. And I think that's being lost with the Matt Lauers and Rush Limbaughs of the world. You know, just to use a couple of public personalities who are either just out of control or secretly out of control. It has been such a good time. I can't believe it. I can't believe this is the day.
Looking back, it's always like, oh my gosh, where'd that 35 years go? A couple of times there, I'm going, oh my Christ, is this ever gonna end? Sorry.
But I feel the same way. I mean, we
Sure
do that
we
too.
do.
I mean, when it's great in real estate, when our clients, you know, when we closed Helen and Dan Balthasar's home 2 weeks ago, and they're elderly, and they needed our help, and they needed our help moving, and they needed our help keeping multiple transactions together, and we took this tiny fee to get it done. We were so happy.
Sure.
And then the next day, you have a deal fall out the day before closing, and you just want to quit. You know,
Highs and lows, every
I've never
career
felt
has.
so high, and I've never felt so low. Ladies and gentlemen, kudos and congrats to Mike McGary on his retirement. becoming a full-time grandpa.
That's gonna be awesome. Thanks, Mike.
You got questions, there's Mayor Pike. If you've got questions about, again, to take advantage, please, today of our, the dollar menu, or our, kind of Christmas in January, call us at 275-1690. Mike will give you a little bit more information. And Mike, we
Yes.
are gonna hand this over to you. This is kind of for our favorite people. We have these custom made in Fargo, North Dakota. Cut, it's a metal, you'll see.
Oh,
I hope this is on your mantle.
I don't know
On
to the
behalf of
box,
the
but I
Larkin
can
Group.
say it
On
will
behalf of the
be.
Larkin Group. There you go, it's cool, it's very cool.
Jeremy, thank you.
Thank you.
Jesse, thank you, guys.
Over and out, guys.
All right, that's gonna wind it up for another edition here. Again, this has been the St. George Real Estate Morning Drive with the voice of St. George Real Estate. As always, for more information, call 275-1690. Find them online at soldandstgeorge.com.
Let's make sure we save this. You did get YouTube. Nice. Well
I gotta
done.
figure out how to finish it.
Just tap it. Right there. Yeah.
We might not